We have a special induction to make today. We've been inducting members at a rapid rate, and right now we're going to let Mindy. Are you going to do the induction? You do it from your chair, or do you want to get that a little bit? But Mindy's going to do the induction. She's our membership chair, so you like the microphone?
Okay, Steve Wood.
I've been coming, put me down as a member, but I guess I never was inducted.
I don't know what happened, but Ross, I think he might have surpassed you for the longest guest. Good. Was not really coming a number. Somehow, I don't know how that happened, Mayor. I would blame it on the president, though, I tell you.
Mr. President,
Oh, the president, yeah.
I forgive you.
All right, well, he already has his badge, so he has to beat all of you that I just got badges today. So I do have all the badges, and if I miss one of you, let me know. So they're sitting up there, and describe your badge. Now, we recycle them, so some of them we've had for a while, so if you would want one that's white, brand new, we'll buy a new one for you if you like, but we use the ones from the previous members as well to recycle, so just want to let you know that. Okay, all right. It is my great pleasure on behalf of the Board of Directors and members of Rotary Club Rensselaer to welcome Mr. Steve Wood as our newest member. We welcome you not only for the fine fellowship that we share, but also for your strong arm that will help us carry out our many projects to make our community and country and world a better place. And our big project is pork burgers. So, Rotary is not a political organization, but all Rotarians are vitally concerned with everything pertaining to good citizenship and election of good men and women to public office. Rotary is an organization of business and professional people pledged to upholding the highest professional standards. Rotarians believe that worldwide fellowship and international peace can be achieved when business people unite in the manner of service. So, we also accept you to give us the inspiration that will help us to become better Rotarians, and is with hope we invest with you, or you with the distinguishing pin, which is on the back of here, of Rotary that will welcome you and gladly offer you the right hand of Rotary Fellowship. So please welcome and inductee Steve Wood as our mayor.
Thank you, Mindy.
Okay, thank you, John.
We finally get it done. Here's a special coin. And we have Rotary coins. I forgot to mention that, and we want to pass them out to all the new members, courtesy of our president nominee, Bill Stang. And if there are any other new members who have not received one of these coins, come see me after the meeting, and we'll get you one of these coins, special four-way test coins. So please do that after the meeting. Dean, I want to report on our backpack project, please.
Everything went well. What was the total? They had 66?
Yes.
We had 66 backpacks that we filled.
Very good. And we know
Out of
that
there 30, 45 minutes.
45 minutes. And Ned was there. Julie, thank you for being there.
Yep.
And also Jeff Yassel, right? So thank you very much, Rotarians, for a good job. We have some official business to take care of today. Coming up to the district celebration, it's hard to remember that because we always say district conference. But we need to appoint or nominate 2 delegates at the district assembly, which happens on Friday at 10 a.m. in Monticello. So raise all your hands that are going to the district celebration so far. Do we have nominations for, we have 2 persons to provide us as delegates, represent us as delegates at the district assembly. We have someone to make the nomination.
I'll make the nomination of John Balovich and Chris White.
We have nominated Chris Widener and John Dalovich. Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. And we will be there to represent our district. And we're really pleased to have found out that Dana Ryan will be presented for governor. So he's a longtime friend of our club. 10 reasons to attend the celebration coming up, not this weekend, but the following weekend. Make new friends, see old friends, learn why Rotary give service, be inspired, inspire others, make a difference, grow your leadership possibilities, have fun, see what other clubs are doing, be entertained. And the president is providing with Cortez, Indiana Beach as a bribe to get you over there because we are one of the host clubs. And even if you can only make it for one session, it'd be well worth your while. So it's on Friday and Saturday, and you can pick your session, go online to Rotary District 6540.org, and you can find out more about it. Anything else I'd love to add about that this time?
If anyone wants to come over for just a meal, there is a price to just come over for the meal. It's only $25. If we do have a few of the members from the club at any one meal, they want to recognize the 10 local clubs, whatever meal we have the most people at. So if you can't break away Friday, but you can come over for the meal, or you can come over Saturday for lunch, I would strongly encourage you to do so. If you're going to do that, we do need to know by the end of this week, though. The sooner the better. So.
Thank you very much. And that ride is for Cortez, Indiana Beach. Take your family or give it to your grandchildren. That's a good idea, so if you can do that. Let's see if we have anything else from the floor at this time. Anything else? Anything else we need to talk about? With that, it's time for our special guest speaker today, and our president-elect is going to introduce our speaker.
I've warned you all that since I'm doing the speakers, you're going to listen to a lot of my hobbies. This isn't a hobby for me. Today we have with us the state wildlife biologist for our district. Dean Zimmerman has been with the state for 43 years. He's going to be retiring in June. So we're going to lose a wealth of knowledge of how the wildlife has been managed and worked with through the years. He's got a degree from Purdue in wildlife science. His current area extends from Lake Michigan clear down to Terre Haute, nearly so, and is probably the widest range of any of the biologists in the state, I would say. That's the personal aspect. Without further ado, here's Dean Zimmerman.
Well, I appreciate the invitation to come up and speak with you. You know, they say what goes around comes around. When I first started with the Division of Fish and Wildlife in 1971, Jasper, Newton, Pulaski, White, and Benton County were part of my work district. So I worked with a few folks up this way, but things changed, and I lost those 5 counties and picked up 3 on the south, and I picked up Clark, Putnam, and Vermilion County. And so my life since then has been down there and out of this way. But this past August, we redistricted the state, made some changes, and so I've now I picked up Lake and Porter County as well. But thankfully, we just about a month ago hired a bird biologist, and she's covering Lake and Porter. About 80% of my calls, especially nuisance wildlife calls, were coming from Lake and Porter County. So there's lots of people, busy area, lots of wildlife conflicts. Any rate, yeah, I'm originally from northeastern Indiana, north of Fort Wayne. I don't know if you've heard of the Little Birds of Albion living there in Kendallville. I was raised on a small farm up that way. Grew up enjoying the outdoors, hunting, fishing, seeing the wildlife, all that stuff. And I actually wanted to be a veterinarian to start with, but my guidance counselor my freshman year, we were talking about it. He said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to be a veterinarian." And he said, "Well," he says, "I hate to break it to you, but he says, you're not going to have, you don't have quite the academic skills to be a veterinarian. They have to be straight A students." And I wasn't quite a straight A student. So at any rate, we looked around, and wildlife science sounded really good, wildlife management. So that's how I exactly got into this career. So, yeah, there's been a lot of change in the Division of Fish and Wildlife in the past year. Our current division director, I'd say 80% of that change is due to our current division director, and about 20% is the economic climate that we find ourselves in here in the state of Indiana. Our division director said he wants to reinvent the Division of Fish and Wildlife. And for an old timer like me, that's kind of scary. Sometimes, you know, we don't deal with change real well. But at any rate, we did have 15 district wildlife biologists, such as myself. We're at a place where we're going through a lot of retirements, and I think we lost 7 district biologists to retirements, and the division director snatched up those jobs. And 2 of them have become urban wildlife biologists. We're going to be hiring 2 more. There's 1 job advertised presently, what we call program biologists. They'll work with federal programs, work with conservation organizations like Pheasants Forever, Ducks Unlimited, and just federal programs about in developing habitat and so forth here in the state. And the other 3 positions, who knows, that hasn't been decided yet. So at any rate, I went from pleasantly covering about 6 counties to 11, and then we lost, like I said, I lost Lake and Porter County, so I'm down to 9 counties. And because of the increase in district size, they asked us, rather than doing the same things that we have been doing habitat-wise, and by the way, in other states, a lot of times they call us private lands biologists. Now, I'll kind of get to that in a little bit. But they said that, again, we want to change things around, and instead of having to do the same things you've done in 9 counties that you were doing in 6. They said, we want you to pick 4 priority counties, and you're to base that based on the amount of public land that's already here, and the amount of Farm Bill programs, the CRPs, where land is set aside. So, Newton, Jasper, and Benton County are 3 priority counties. Those were pretty much givens. And Park County, all the way down to Rockville, is my 4th priority county. And that's the only county where I can go out and visit with a landowner on his property, draw up management plans, and provide cost share money. Counties like Tippecanoe and Warren, for example, they're out of luck. All I can do is say, well, here's our website. We have some nice how-to stuff there. And as far as cost share monies, you have to go through the USDA Farm Bill or a conservation organization like Pheasants Forever, or the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service actually has a private lands program also. So at any rate, a lot of change. And I like to say, like doctors, there's a lot of different kinds of doctors, widows and throat, oncologists, gynecologists, and so forth. We have a lot of different kinds of wildlife biologists in the state as well. We have property managers, those guys who manage areas like Willow Slough or Jasper Pulaski. We have district biologists like myself, or as I said, we're sometimes known as private lands biologists. We have in my office at Lafayette now the urban biologist. That's going to be her specialty. And we have a what's called an environmental review biologist. Whenever there's a project that crosses a stream that drains a square mile or more, particularly if it's a perennial stream, you're required to get a permit from the Division of Water. And the Division of Fish and Wildlife has the opportunity to comment on what's the effect of the project on fish, wildlife, and botanical resources. And hopefully we can minimize those losses of those resources with some suggested management practices and so forth. What else? We have fishery biologists, hatchery managers, fisheries research, we have wildlife research biologists, deer, grouse and turkeys, upland game or farm game, which includes pheasant, quail, and rabbits. We have a waterfowl biologist, and we have a fur bearer biologist, and they are in charge of doing surveys on these different kinds of their specialty areas, coordinating other field people and doing those surveys. Anymore, we have public relations specialists, planners, people who are our federal aid coordinators. A lot of our money comes from federal aid nowadays. So at any rate, we're pretty diverse altogether, including clerical staff and labor staff. We have about 240. That's just the Division of Fish and Wildlife. We have about 240 employees. And at our annual meeting in February, they told us we had 60 vacant positions. And it seems the state likes to play games in keeping a certain number of those positions vacant for a while. I don't know if it's money saving, whether it looks good that we have fewer state employees, whatever the reasoning. It seems like we maintain quite a few empty positions. And I should say then, back, in the late 70s, the state started a program, we call it our non-game wildlife program, or wildlife diversity is what it's called now, wildlife diversity program. The Division of Fish and Wildlife is essentially funded by hunting and fishing license monies and by federal aid dollars that come from taxes on firearms, ammunition, bows and arrows, fishing rods, fishing lures, and so forth. In the past, a lot of us have said that, rather proudly, that it's hunters and fishermen that pay for conservation in all states. But again, in the late 70s, we started this non-game program, and there was a checkoff on your state tax form that you could donate a portion of a refund to that. That money goes into that, and they manage all the other non-hunted wildlife in Indiana. What we talked about in special songbirds, hawks, owls, and so forth, reptiles, amphibians, non-game mammals like bobcats, badgers, and so forth. And they're funded again by just straight donations and that checkoff. Their annual budget is somewhere around $430,000, whereas the Division of Fish and Wildlife's budget is somewhere around $15 million, something like that. And I'd say over half that's federal aid money that's coming back to us. So I wanted to mention wildlife diversity, and with their limited funds and people, they've done a really great job. Somewhere around just before 1900, the last bald eagle nest occurred in Indiana. And it was probably, 70 years or so, round numbers, that we had no eagle nests in Indiana. And in the 80s, they brought us through a reintroduction program to the point now where we have about 150 bald eagle nests in the state of Indiana. It's probably a little higher than that. There's probably some we don't know about. And I was telling Chris, the nearest one that I'm aware of is just south of the college, about 2 miles, and turned west about 3 miles. And out on the Iroquois there is a bald eagle nest that you can see very handily from the road and see the birds. How many of you know that's there? A lot of you. Good deal. So that's pretty cool. First few of those that we had in the state, we had a guy that came out and he would climb the tree. He wore a hard hat, but he'd climb the tree, get up in the nest, and lower the eaglets down, and we dust them for external parasites, take a blood sample, then put a leg band on them. We banded a lot of eagles during that time period. So it's pretty cool. They've also reintroduced osprey, peregrine falcon, and another really big success is river otters. In fact, the river otters have been so successful that we're getting quite a few complaints about them. In fact, very close to where the eagle nest is, within a couple of miles, I visited with a gentleman there who had a pond and had a family, or at least a couple of river otters get into his pond. And for some reason, he didn't like the fact that they go down and come up with a nice big bluegill and eat it. And then they go down and come up with a nice bass and eat that. And he felt like they were really impacting his pond. So at any rate, this fall, for the first time in 50, 60 years, we're going to have a river otter trapping season. We're going to allow that to happen. We have been, people who have complained, had problems with depredations on their pond. We've issued them a permit, and they're allowed to hire somebody to come in and track their nuisance otters or shoot them. So, we don't like to do that, but they had to surrender those animals then to us, and we use them for research purposes and that. At any rate, there'll be a trapping season. Trappers will be able to take 600 statewide, and then we'll shut it off. And they'll have to check those in, and that way we'll know how many have been taken. So at any rate, that wildlife diversity unit's really done a good job. All right, let's just buzz through a few slides here. About half of what I do is habitat management work with landowners who have property and they're interested in improving it for wildlife. Could be a deer hunter, could be somebody who likes wild turkeys, ducks, or it could be somebody who likes songbirds, or somebody who just wants to restore habitats and let come what will. About 10% of what I do is work with wildlife conflicts, for the most part, deer complaints and goose complaints, Canada goose complaints. We can issue permits to deal with damage or with geese and nuisance situations, and essentially I take care of those. About 10% is public relations, dealing with the media, something like today. Occasionally, the Journal and Courier in Lafayette or TV18 will call and say, hey, we got some kind of bird out here, we don't know what it is. It's creating a lot of interest, and what can you tell us about it? What is it, and what can you tell us about it? About 10% of the time is doing wildlife surveys of different kinds. That is probably going to drop here because the state is probably one of those positions that they took from district people where we have what's called a volunteer coordinator now. And we're looking to develop a pretty good group list of what they're calling citizen scientists, people who want to go out and run quail surveys or run pheasant surveys for us. So at any rate, that's another little thing that's happening. And about 5% of the time, special committees, projects that we get assigned to, and then unfortunately there's the paperwork. I tell you, the last 20 years, and especially the last 10 years, the amount of paperwork that we have to do is pretty uncanny, pretty high. Part of it's good, because I think that Indiana citizens like to have their employees, state employees accountable. So like I said, part of it's good, but sometimes I just feel like it's micromanagement, and you spend more time on paperwork than you can get out and really do some good work. So as far as that habitat management, we provide advice to people, go out and do an on-site visit, and put together a habitat plan, come up with an aerial photo, lay out, where we're going to do this and where we're going to do that. 2 or 3 page verbal description of where to get seed, where to get trees, how to plant them, how to take care of them, that kind of thing. So we do that. And then provide some cost share assistance. Division of Fish and Wildlife does that. And you can also get cost share and verbal assistance, technical assistance from NRCS's Natural Resources Conservation Service. That's your USDA office on the southeast side of town. Division of Forestry over Jasper Pulaski serves this area, and then the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So I guess I talked a little bit about deer damage complaints. I think we've done really a pretty good job. It's probably been slower than what most would like, but we've done a good job finally of getting the deer herd down. We're starting to get a lot of complaints from hunters they're not seeing deer and so forth. But I don't hear from many farmers anymore complaining about damage to their crops, corn and soybean by deer. And it's mostly the people who are trying to grow trees, mostly landscaping, mostly people with apple orchards that I'm hearing from these days. And it's just kind of the way it's been. So I can issue a permit to take deer out of season with various parameters being met. And then the Canada goose, I don't know whether you have much of a Canada goose problem up here or not. Lafayette, there's a lot of nuisance geese, flocks that move around from apartment complex ponds to industrial area ponds and so forth, beaches, at campgrounds and so on. And we have to use a variety of permits that the feds allow us to issue. You can do birth control by going online, the federal website, and getting a permit to destroy eggs and nests, or we'll just leave it at that. And then I can issue a permit for agricultural damage, for trap and transplant the birds, trap them here and move them 100 miles away or so. That's not always really successful because studies show that anywhere from 20 to 80% of those birds will return. So it's not necessarily a total or a permanent solution. And then we also have a permit these days for a trap and euthanize permit. So we have about a dozen nuisance wildlife control people statewide that have been trained, and they can round up the birds, take them to a location, and usually they use a CO2 chamber and they can euthanize them, which obviously is a more permanent solution. As far as other critters, raccoons, beaver, coyotes, bats, woodpeckers, cardinals, all I can do is provide advice over the phone. We don't make field visits to help people deal with those.
Do you have a list of licensed exterminators for those products?
For the geese? And for those species?
Yeah.
Yes. If you go to our state website, or get in touch with me, and I can send you a link, or send you a hard copy if you like. But yes, there is a list. Those folks are registered with us. Oh, I don't know that we need to spend a lot of time on that. Surveys, generally our surveys are trend surveys. The population is going up or down based on habitat loss, hunting seasons, and so forth. We have been running river otter surveys and great blue heron surveys for the non-game people. We run deer check stations. If any of you are deer hunters, you have to take your deer to a check station, and it could be that you had a biologist there and you get age, sex, county of killed information, and here lately we've been taking tissue samples to check for chronic wasting disease. I'll just say briefly that over the last 43 years, the neatest thing that I've been involved with has been the reintroduction of the wild turkey. We were involved in finding suitable release sites, picking up birds at the airport that we got from the state of Missouri, and take them out and turn them loose on those release sites, watched the populations, and when they got high enough, we started trapping our own birds and moving those around to different areas of the state. And we leased food plots for a while so that the birds have corn to eat in the wintertime, just to kind of help assure their survival. So, and that's been a real success. We have turkeys in every county in Indiana. I've talked with a couple of local folks here in Jasper County, seen a lot of turkeys, a couple different places, so they're here. So why is it that private lands are so important? 96% of Indiana is privately owned. And that's the big reason. If we're going to have any effect on wildlife here in the state, we've got to work with landowners and provide incentives for landowners to either maintain or create habitat. Another reason is that 92% of hunters hunt on private lands. You know, we just don't have enough willow sloughs or Jasper Pulaskis in the state to accommodate all the people that want to hunt there. And of course, there are what we call the non-consumptive wildlife users. We had a couple million people in 1991. A lot of people travel from where they live to other places, whether it's public properties and so forth, to enjoy wildlife. So again, as far as those private lands go, you know, what can we do? Well, you've got to how can we compete? You know, crop prices, when corn's $5 a bushel, soybeans are $12 a bushel. It's really hard to compete. Landowners are going to focus on urban sprawl is another issue. So again, we have various incentives, a couple of different cost share programs. We have a neighbor partnership program where we'll partner with Pheasants Forever chapters. I believe we have a nice pheasants chapter up here. Partner with them, use some of their money, some of our money, and help landowners again improve habitat. Okay, all right. So, at any rate, tell you what, let's just take a few questions for 5 minutes or so, and then we'll wrap up. Any questions, sir?
I think I'm most interested about this guy that climbs up to check the heat list. It's a very dangerous job.
Yeah.
Having gone out there, you'll see one mate in the nest and then the mate right there. I mean, I would have to imagine they don't hesitate. They just come in and defend.
Right. I don't know that he probably, there were never any injuries. He probably got tapped a few times, but whenever I was out and watched that process, the birds wouldn't come much closer than about 10 feet. They just sort of fly over and fly on away. Another question, sir?
Well, observation, quick question. For years, the people running Indiana who swore the #1 goal was to reduce unnecessary paperwork. My experience has been those are usually people that create the most unnecessary paperwork.
Okay.
There was a big article in the Gary Post Tribune a day or so ago about how the dramatic budget cuts, I think you operated on like 2002 budgets or something, has impacted what you can do. Is that a serious problem as the newspaper article implied?
I would say so. Since we're primarily funded by Fish and Wildlife hunting and fishing license monies and federal money directly to fish and wildlife activities, especially at the state level, that's what's hindering our income. Those hunting and fishing license monies, our folks are talking about, we'd like to see a hunting and fishing license fee increase. But positions, I know some of our sister agencies like Division of Nature Reserves and state parks and so forth, they're dealing with getting by. Yeah, I'd say we're operating on 2002, 2005 budget, something like that. The school is pretty good. Another thought? Yes.
On occasion, you'll hear about an exotic pet that gets loose, an alligator or somebody just lets go. Has that impacted your work over the years, or is that really a non-issue for you?
If they're truly an exotic animal,
It's not like gets out into the wild, like in a creek or something like that. I think
Okay.
that's true.
yeah. I'm not a fishery biologist, but yes, there are exotics in Lake Michigan. There are some exotics like in the Wabash River, the Asian carp that you've heard about, the silver, the black, the big head carp. Yeah, those are significant issues. Out on the land, as far as competing with deer, turkeys, squirrels, rabbits, not so much. It's more invasive plants are a big deal for us.
Thank you very much, Steve. Rotary this year, on behalf of our Rotary Club, we want to thank you for coming out. Thank you. Sorry to cut you short there.
It's all right.
It was very interesting. I think we had some great questions. Thank you. Thank you very much. You bet. Thank you. Good. A couple of things. One is, we have enough drivers for Ryla.
Yes.
We're
We
taking
have,
care.
one to take and one to pick up, we're covered, I think, yes.
Very good, thank you. I had forgotten, Central College Scholarship is coming up, and we need to have a committee. I've asked several people to head up the committee, and found out one might be a conflict, I'm not sure yet. So I'd like to have a committee for the scholarship. Anybody would like to participate in picking the scholarship this year? Who would like to help out? Steve would, you would like to, Edgy, and Clay would like to, and John would like to as well. So, there we go. We got a committee. We'll get the information. I'm gonna give it to Dr. Steve here, and we'll go from there. We have a drawing today.
$325.
$325.
$20 today, because we're almost not gonna be able to remember, and there are only 12 cards.
12 cards, $40 today, 50% goes to the foundation in your name, and the other 50% you get to keep for yourself and do whatever you like. Last three digits, I'd like to do.
Last three digits, 975.
975. All right, and Cecile, we're rooting for you. We're rooting for you. Good luck. And it is. Oh. You know, I was really hoping mine was picked because it was 977. I don't know what that means, but please stand for the 4-way test.